Hello, my dear students. INICET is done, right? And now we are moving ahead with the next phase of our preparation. So, if you have heard me in the voice messages or in the WhatsApp forwards, this is a very important phase of your preparation, which you're going to start now. And fortunately or unfortunately, it is coming after the INICET exam, which just got over in a very dramatic fashion, isn't it? Yeah? So, many students are very happy after the INICET because the paper was very good, right? When I say it was very good, it was full of repeats, isn't it? Huh? Almost to the tune of 130, 140 questions were repeated. So you're good, but at the same time, students who have really worked hard, uh, it's a very sad kind of an examination. My dear students, I'll just spend 2 minutes speaking about INICET before I go on for the NEET. Okay, so when a prestigious and an esteemed institution like All India Institute of Medical Sciences conducts an examination of such a very low caliber, it hits the students who have been working so hard, isn't it? Let's take two students, huh? Okay, let's take two students. This is A and this is B. Okay, now A has studied for 1 full year. Okay, 1 full year. This guy has been reading, studying. He has learned what is bevacizumab. He has learned what is imatinib, and gone through all the pharmacology classifications that is there. Gone through microbiology, gone through biochemistry, done everything thoroughly. Let's take student B, who was not really willing to write INICT, but okay, chalo yaar, hum exam hai, kuch to karte hain. 10 days before he takes up one book, one or any book, question bank which contains the last 10 years papers, he goes through all the papers. And if you ask after the exam, student B will be more happier than student A simply because almost 130, 140 questions were a direct repeat of what has been come before. So, where does it leave students who have been working for 1 full year? Isn't it? You study for 1 full year and you go to the exam and it's a totally different ball game there, isn't it? So you never know what's going to happen in this INICET, and it is my humble and my sincere request to anybody and everybody, especially the students who've been doing very well in all the mock exams or who've been working very hard. I don't want you to have any kind of an expectation about the results. It has happened before that students who like would really feel that, "Oh, I will get into the top and I will be there." See, as many students of CDs have been topping, and like I've been topping the mock exam, so I will be there and all these things. And by chance you don't find your name there, we get so very demoralized that it takes a lot of time for you to come back, a lot of time for you to come back and start preparing for NEET. And that is a big mistake which we should not do, which we should not commit. No, which is wrong. Okay, okay, something has happened. Now we go ahead. If your results come well, fantastic, amazing, celebrate, give party, enjoy, right? But if your name is not there, okay, you will definitely feel low. We are human beings. I cannot tell that, okay, you go ahead and chuck it out and go ahead for NEET. No, we will feel bad. We will feel a little bit depressed. We will feel let down. We will feel low. Human emotions here, but don't stay with it, don't marinate with it for a long time, because my dear students, until and unless we get to the goal that we really have to reach, uh, there's no point in telling, okay, aim set a paper like that full of repeats, competition went up. Who's going to listen to you? You're either there or you're not there. It's all or none phenomenon. Either you're there or you're not there. Okay, so if it is there, fantastic, very happy. If it is not there, feel low for some time, but immediately bounce back, because whatever you guys have been studying for the last 1 year, now is the time for you to make the full use of it, right? And then at that time, when you feel very low and you feel very crushed, it'll take a long time for you to recover. That means you're wasting precious time. And for those of you who have been studying, if you compare yourself with the interns who have just finished their colleges, and they've got this full time with them, 24 hours, so all the interns will start studying now. and they will start studying at the rate of 8 to 10 hours a day, which probably the poor things were probably studying like 4 to 5 hours, but now they have all the time in the world, so they can sit and study. So what is happening is the level of competition is going to go up in the next 3 to 3.5 months. So all of you should be geared up to face this next 4 months in a proper, wonderful manner, in a very planned and a very methodical and a wonderful manner. Okay, so again, that's the reason I've used this. Just like last time, I gave a small talk on this. Moving beyond INI-CET. INI-CET is done. Okay, the future depends on what we do in the present. I mean, uh, there's no point of looking back and like, okay, this exam was good, yeah, it was in my hand and things like that. I mean, and it's okay, it's different. Okay, let's see what we have now. Let's see this examination now. Let's look at NEET now and let's focus. And let me tell you one thing, my dear students. INI-CET is a totally different ball game. NEET is a totally different ball game. INI-CET is cricket. This is football. Let's have it the other way around. Let's say that INI-CET is football because it was like a football, right? And NEET is like the World Cup that is going on. Be like the India team, beating every team which is coming in its own way, and do well for the next 3.5 months or whatever that you have. Give your best for this NEET examination. Right. And I've had many students tell me that, "Sir, I'm not able to focus, I'm not able to concentrate." And we give a very simple solution, that the bigger your goal is, the bigger your dream is, and when you know that my dream is not complete and I have to walk towards my dream, I have to move towards my dream, concentration comes by itself, focus comes by itself. Okay, we will all be scared, we will all be tensed, but the person who does not utilize these 3 months in a good way, he is a fool. Everybody will be scared. Even though you're scared, you study well. Even though you feel that you can't do it, study well. Even though you feel that I might not be worth it, study. आपका काम है सिर्फ, your job is only to study and nothing else, right? Do not think of the fruit, as the saying in Mahabharata goes. Do not think of the fruit. You think about your efforts. You put in your efforts daily, and you'll get to where you need to go, and it'll all be fine. Okay, you guys have worked hard. You guys have given your best. Let's continue for this NEET examination now. Now, let's understand the psyche of the NEET examination before we make any plans. Okay. Now, if you look at the NEET examination, my dear students, I think I'll just change the color. Okay, so if you look at the NEET examination, um, first and foremost, it has always been 240 marks. Now, the first obvious question, sir, INI-CET a lot of repeats. Should we go ahead and study a lot of repeats for NEET? Since the last 8 years that NEET has been conducted, it's only twice that NEET has repeated questions, and to the tune of, let's say, around 30, 35 questions, not beyond that. Okay, so repeats have never been a major forte of NEET. Irrespective, you have to give some time for repeats, but I would suggest, after you've done your foundation proper, not now. INI-CET, on the other hand, if you observe right from day one for the last 4 months, we've been telling do repeats, because that's how it is. It's clinicals for INI-CET. And if you realize, like no question, no micro, no biochem, hardly anything from pharmac, no physio, no medicine. I mean, hardly anything anywhere in this last INI-CET. Basically, hardly any basic questions, right? But NEET is a different ball game, right? And NEET, so let's keep it on one side. Are repeats important? No. But should I do it? Yes. But don't give overtime, but you should do it. Second thing, are the SR papers important? No. Then what is important? Basic reading. When I say basic, I don't mean anatomy, physiology. I mean the basic foundation of all subjects. Okay, simple. Whatever you've studied during BDS. I mean, if you're in CDs, whatever lecture notes, all the lectures you've attended, the points you've grabbed, what you have understood, be it your institute papers, your live exam section, your BDS Next app, do that properly, right? So make your basic foundation as properly as that. Okay, now if you look at the NEET examination, my dear students, we have basics on one hand and we have clinicals. If you realize there were only two words, keywords, which I mean, your sir kept repeating. I'm always assuming that most of you are listening to this YouTube lecture are from CDs. So, you must have heard your sir use his word many times. Two words for NICT. It's clinicals, and repeats. Now, the two words for NEET are basics and clinicals. Basics and clinicals, insisting that basics are super duper important, right? So we have 100 marks for basics and 140 marks for clinicals. Now, if you look at basics, my dear students, anatomy and pharmacology are the most important subjects. If you look at anatomy, it is 14 marks. If you look at all the other subjects like physio, biochem, both put together is 14 marks. Patho, micro, both put together is 14 marks. DA, DH, both put together is roughly on 14 marks. So it actually goes like that. And on the other hand, pharmacology is 14 marks. Right, sorry. General medicine and general surgery is 15 and 15. So, it's huge. Okay. On the other hand, when it comes to clinicals, the most important subject is oral pathology. And even last NEET, it's not only last NEET, if you look at all the last NEET year's papers, oral path has always been coming in a very big number, simply because oral medicine and radiology is 15. Now, when you say oral medicine and radiology, oral medicine again is the bulk, which is 10 marks, which is majorly oral path again, right? And you have oral pathology and diagnosis with forensic odontology for 15. And oral path being a mother, she has a lot of ingredients from other subjects. I would suggest, I would put another 5 marks there. So it's almost 35 marks for oral pathology, and it's one of the reasons why we usually start with anatomy and oral path in series, because your confidence in that these two subjects should be very, 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 very good, right? And then all the other clinical subjects are 14 marks each. Okay, so if you look at the whole thing, there are a few key points which you have to understand from here. Let's look at the basic subjects. Okay, now when you're looking at the basic subjects, my dear students, let us assume that today is the 10th of November. Okay, so ideally a simple plan for your preparation, balancing between your basics and clinicals, become very, very important. Okay, and I'm assuming that because most of you all would have studied your clinicals very well before the INICET, and you may have, and with the kind of messages that I've been getting, even in the WhatsApp groups, or you're WhatsApping me directly, and I can understand that some of your basic subjects you have to become very thorough again. Okay, now I'll just give you a simple plan as to how to take this forward. 10th November to 10th December, my dear students, what you have to do is give it one full month. Okay, I would suggest even the test series at this point. Now, series will conduct two massive test series. Along with that, you will have specific pinpoint, like we had for the last INICET. Besides the regular mocks, we had every subject mock, in between. So you'll have those kind of mini mocks also, right? If you realize, just before the INICET, 1 month we had 22 mocks in the last 1 month, and all of you, if you just go back and see, you'll realize how many questions have come from those mock exams, isn't it? And if you look at the repeat section in the first, somebody was telling me yesterday in the class that I think in the first 6 or 7 papers itself, there were more than 90 to 95 MCQs which were directly repeated for your INICET exams. Irrespective, my dear students, so this 10th November to 10th December, you take it as a time to isolate yourself from everything. I use the word isolate because I don't want you to think about anything. I don't want you to think about, okay, this test series, or I don't want you to think about, okay, this subject, that subject. You forget about everything. Okay, you isolate and then do what? You look at yourself, right? Now, not your friend's timetable, not what he is doing, not what she is doing, not what the one topper called up and said, do this, do this, do this. No, no, no. He is different. Everybody's shoe is different. Your technique of studying is different, right? Uh, you have your own plan, right? You have your own methodology of studying. So you know where you are strong, you know where you're weak. So what am I supposed to do, sir? You look at all the 20 subjects, whether it, like whether it's anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, oral path, whatever it is. Wherever you feel that those subjects which you have not done or which you have not done properly, you got to focus on that in this 1 month. Let's assume, let's assume that this particular student is not very good in microbiology, probably in physio, probably in pharmac, okay, and among the clinicals probably is not great in prosto, he's probably not very good in perio, or probably he's lacking in ortho. So these subjects where you feel that you're very weak and you need one or two additional readings, please make sure that you stress your level best for these subjects properly. Why? Because after December 10th, you will be revising all subjects at a very, very fast pace. You will not get time, sufficient time to sit and tell, I'll let me study micro for 4 days or let me study physio for 4 days. आपको time नहीं मिलेगा. You're not going to get time. You're going to get very limited time, and I'll tell you what exactly you'll be doing. So you have to use this 1 month that you have is a precious thing to make your foundation as strong as possible, and then you go on with multiple revisions. That is how you go to the top, right? So you decide for yourself, keep all the 20. I'm assuming that physio, pharmac and general medicine is a universal weakness, and basics are 100 marks. You cannot afford to take it lightly, so you have to focus on all the basic subjects very, 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 very well, right? But at the same time, please do not ignore your clinical subjects, right? So I'll give you a simple plan. Let's assume that 10th you're going to start your preparation. So uh, irrespective of whatever that you have to do, irrespective, please put this down, you have 3 hours of something, 1 hour of something, and then the whole time, the rest of the time for doing whatever your weekend. Let me explain this to you. What this basically means is very simple. In a day, even though your sir is telling that basics is important, basics is important, basics is important, 3 hours every day you have to give for any of your clinical subjects. Why, sir? Because clinicals are for 140 marks, clinicals are scoring, clinicals will give you the confidence to keep pushing through this 1 month. So 3 hours you have to spend for any clinical subject. You've worked hard for NICT. I know that your most of your clinicals are pretty good. You've done well in your mocks, but still you got to spend around 3 hours for a clinical. 1 hour every day. Every day is for your BDS next app. And in the app, the most important will be your live exam section. Do not cross question. Don't think, sir, these are INICT mocks. Should I do it? It's ultimately the subject, right? We are not going for repeats. We're not going for SR from those different books or even from the red book. No, I want you to just focus on doing all the live exam sections right from the first exam till now, and then slowly as we keep adding, like for example, systemic anatomy, there's a section called systemic anatomy in your BDS next app. If you observe, I want you to go back and do that. There are questions on liver and spleen and all that, and even in your exams, mock exams, which will be starting soon, okay, we will give you those questions. You're not expected to know it, but there will be some amazing explanations given below that. So I want you to look at those explanations, and I want you to understand, okay, because sometimes they ask very simple things like what is a falciparum ligament, or something about a spleen, or something about the blood supply of the liver and things like that. Or once they ask, how do you divide the liver and how many parts do you divide? These are all very, very basic things, you know. So they'll be given in the form of questions, and I will be taking a few sessions in the class. So I'll put up those sessions in the live exam, so it will benefit everybody, whether you belong to Course A, Course B, Course C, Satellite Center, wherever you belong to. You will give those rapid revision sessions, which I think will be very, very helpful to all of you. And my staff are working on it, and of course, I'll be taking the class. So I'm sure that it'll be helpful to all of you. Okay, right. Now, so what I'm trying to do, and so the rest of the time, I'm assuming that your internship is done, you're free, and you have to study a minimum of 8 to 10 hours a day. Sir, is it required? Yes. Can I study 8 to 10 hours a day? Yes, my dear students. As I've told you all, if you need something desperately, you just give in for that. You pour your energy into it. As I've said, Alchemist. If you have read the book of Alchemist by Paul Coelho, the powers of the universe will conspire to give you what you need. But for that, you should be ready for that. You should have the ability to fight for it, right? So 8 to 10 hours to आपको करना ही पड़ेगा. I mean, you have to do, right? But again, don't get scared, right? Can I do it as easy? No. Let's say you get up in the morning. You have to get up a little early. Let's say you get up in the morning at 7, or let's say from 7 to 9 you study. You take a break and you study from 10:30 to 12:30. You take a break. You study from 2:30 to 4:30. Take a break. You study from 6:30 to 8:30. So even with so much of relaxation, it's 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. It's already 8 hours. Come on. And you finding 8 hours difficult to study? No. Somebody messaged me the other day, sir, I'm not able to concentrate more than 4.5 hours. I'm trying my best. I'm like, how? How? Isn't it? If you want to, you can. If you can slog, and if you really want, see, very recently, somebody paid almost like 55 lakhs for a management seat and took, ortho somewhere and took prosto somewhere. In some colleges, the some of the deemed universities, the fees itself is 17, 18 lakhs. I have nothing against you paying and taking, because some of the deemed universities are worth paying 18 lakhs per year, provided you have, I don't even have a pocket, okay, provided you have the adequate resources for that, right? But for all the others, the next 3.5 months, see, my dear students, if you want something, you have to work for it, okay? So you have to sit. I'm not scaring you, I'm just making you realize the reality, okay? And it is, the more you study, the better you are placed. It's directly proportional, and you have to work hard and smart. You have to balance both, okay? So you can study 8 to 10 hours a day. It's not very difficult. So you can do it like this. You choose a particular subject. Let us say that you are planned to study around 9 hours a day, okay? So 5 hours you give for your subject of your weakness. Let us assume that I would not suggest pharmacology for 5 years. Pharmac is best to be done like, one system in one day. Like one system in one day. Yes, that's all that you need for pharmac, and nothing more than that. One system, one day, finish. Your job is done. Nothing more than that, okay? But any other subject, let's say you wanted to do physiology for 5 hours a day, do physio. So 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours, 5 hours. Like 4 days, you should be able to somehow try to finish the portions of physiology. 1 hour for your BDS next step, whatever happens. And then, so it's 5 plus 1, 6. 6 plus 3 hours is going to be for any clinical subject. Again, I'd ask you to start with the clinical subject where you are the weakest. If it is perio, start with that. If it is ortho, start with that. There is no real favoritism of any clinical subject besides oral path for the NEET exams. Okay. Unfortunately, for the basic subjects, sometimes they go overboard and they dump a lot of systemic um, anatomy questions, a lot of questions on hardcore general medicine. So you can't really prepare for that. Thinking that, okay, let me go in depth into general medicine, spending time on that, it is much better you start spending time on your clinical or subjects where you can score. Okay, so please do that. Again, so how should I treat the subjects? You have to treat all subjects equally. Equally. DA, even dental anatomy, dental histology, jo bhi hai, you make a plan and you finish it. Okay, so let me run through this dates. Okay, so as we have decided, let us assume that November 10th to December 10th, you have to finish your hardcore reading, or in other words, you're making your foundation very thorough. And from December 10th to, let us say, till Jan 10th, it is very, very important that you focus on all your clinical subjects again. Okay. When I say focus on clinical subjects, It means to say, let us say that you're studying 8 to 10 hours. That means minimum of 5 to 6 hours should go for the clinical subjects, right? So this is given assuming that most of your basic subjects are weaker, and I know they are weaker. Any day microbiology is going to be tougher than perio, right? Or biochemistry is going to be more difficult than community, right? Because all this is there, yeah. And you've not got enough time to read. Some of you have stopped basics almost 1.5 months before INSET exam, right? So now is the time for you to read it. So this whole time you're going to focus on your basics or any other clinical subjects, depending on when you have joined the institute or depending on when you have started your preparation. December 10th is a deadline. A deadline. Okay. December 10th to Jan 10th, you have to focus on clinicals. Jan 10th to end of Jan. End of Jan. Okay. You're going to revert back to basics, right? Now, sir, how do we really do this? You don't have to worry. You just have to follow the test series timetable which will be given to you. The test series timetable is going to run like this. So automatically your preparation will go as per the test series timetable. But I'm just giving you a briefing as to how you're doing it. So Jan 10th to Jan 30th, you'll go back and again you will, you will stick to your basics. You'll go in depth wherever you feel I've not done the classifications, I've left the synopsis, or I've not done the smart notes for this particular subject. You go back and you read them and you get the confidence and then you keep moving. So from from Feb 1st onwards, almost till Feb the 20th, again is a time for you to revise your clinicals again. Revise your clinicals again, right? You can not only follow the test series, along with test series, you can make it, some students, you have this, you can make this tabular column. You write down all the subjects, right? You write all the subjects and you tick, like, okay, I'm confident, I'm not confident, I've done it from Pulse, I've done it from source notes, I've done it from BDS Next App, a few topics have done it from dentist, have studied smart notes. Everything should almost be ticked. Okay. I'm not scaring you, my dear students. I'll come to you. Okay. I'm just telling you what is it that you have to do. And the last 10 days, let us assume that your NEET examination is on the 1st of March. Okay. It could be on the 6th, it could be whenever it is, right? So if it is on the 1st of March, this last 10 days, in those 10 days, you're going to split your time into like 50% basics and 50% clinical. So that is how it's going to be. I would still tell that the last 10 days you'll be focusing a little more on basics than clinicals, and you will ultimately go for the exams because clinicals are not very volatile, and what you study you can remember, and you're going to be revising clinicals so well so many times. So you slowly start getting better and better. So what has been shown here are endpoints. Endpoint. Now, if you realize just before you went for the INSET exam, we remember two values: 30 minutes, 48 questions. 30 minutes means if they're giving you 45 minutes, at the end of 30 minutes, or when there is 15 minutes left, you should have attempted maximum questions. But you really didn't need any much time management for a paper of this standard. I think only the first part, which was a little bit lengthy with some prosthetic questions and some a little bit of community questions, took some time. But rest, I think most of you all did it in like 15 to 20 minutes, isn't it? Okay, so over here, when it comes to your entire preparation strategy, what you're going to do from now on is very very important. How you capture all your clinical subjects properly. Okay, so your clinical subjects are, you can remember, you know and you, with so much of studies, I don't think it should be a major problem. Okay, all of you, right? So these endpoints will help you to make your timetable. Now if you keep your eyes closed, if you're hearing to this lecture, this subconsciously, this December 10th should go to your mind. So you look at all the subjects. You open to your dental pulse, which most of you all are studying, I'm assuming, or dentist, whichever book you're studying. So you keep that on the table and look at the index of all the four volumes of pulse or whatever, and tell, okay, how good am I in this subject? Okay, how good am I in this subject? How good? Okay, I'm weak here. I am weak here. I have not done the synopsis here. I have not done the miscellaneous part. After miscellaneous wala questions, I've not done. I've left these two chapters there. So you know yourself, and then you write down, this is what I've not done. This is what I've not done. This is what I've not done. And by the 10th of December, it is my job, my duty to make sure that I've covered all these things to the best of my potential. Because after December 10th, this in depth studies for every subject will come down. Then you will have to revise and revise and revise and revise. Okay. One more simple date, one more endpoint I'll give you. After Jan 1st, my dear and dear students, you are not going to study anything new. Nothing new. After Jan 1st, nothing new. Okay? After Jan 1st, you are going to focus on whatever you have read. Less is more. Okay, your live exam, you by the time you finish, you'll have more than 70 exams, to the tune of roughly 200, 250 questions. Just the mock exams, you have around 15,000 MCQs. Do I know all those 15,000 MCQs? If not, go back to it. Read the relevant explanations, right? NEET is about simple data, what you have studied. You cannot afford to go wrong. They can even ask you who gave the psychosocial theory, you know, something very as simple as that. And you're getting confused. Oh God, is it Sigmund Freud? Or is it Erik Erikson? Or is it Bandura? Gone. Okay, you cannot afford to make a mistake there. You cannot afford to make a mistake there. Okay, so this is how it is. So you just plan yourself. December 10th is one deadline. Jan 1st is another endpoint. 8 to 10 hours of reading every day. I have to do whatever happens. Please take care of your health. A lot of festivals are coming. New Year is coming. Everything is coming. It's okay. My New Year is after the NEET exam, right? There's nothing more happier than getting into a government seat after you worked so hard, and it's worth it. Every um, ounce of your hard work that you're doing now is amazing. When you get your results, we realize that yes, it's worth it. I worked for this. I've received it. I've got what I wanted, and become an Instagram hero. give your video testimonials. Give that. Give this. It's amazing, right? And then you have all the advice in the world once you top the country. Okay, all of you. So this is how I think you have to really plan yourself. So please make sure that your basics are done well. Yeah. Now coming to a few of the questions what the students have asked me. Let me come back again. So how important are repeats again? I'm repeating it again to you that repeats are not that important. Okay, for the NEET. So if at all, but one thing you have to do is like, let's say the standard like pulse, what you're reading after miscellaneous, he has given all those AIPG and names for the questions. Be very thorough with it. Even if it's aims, you have to read it. Don't question yourself. Just read it. It's very, 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 very important. Okay, right? So that is the only repeat which I want you to do right now. And then after that, the last 8 years ka papers, just sit and read it 10 times, and I think your job is done. So that we will see it later. But now, first thing, because NEET does not have a history of repeats, let us make our foundation more thorough. Okay. Secondly, sir, I'm very scared of questions on liver, questions on spermiogenesis, questions on, I'm sorry, spermatogenesis and things like that. Don't worry. Whatever has come before your exams before, those explanations are there. It is covered in your BDS Next app. So please go through that properly, right? And among these tough medical questions, super tough questions, whatever discussions which we will take in the class, right? So we have made a set of, I don't know how many questions. So we will discuss them and just follow it. See, you don't have time now to go and open to big books and tell, okay, let me open Davidson and study, or let me open Harshmore. I just have Harshmore. I'll show it to you later. I have Harshmore with me. Let me open Ashmore now and let me study Ashmore. It is practical. Okay, I have Ashmore medical in front of me. Now, is it practical for you to open the books and tell, okay, let me read this like this? Do you have the time for that? This is hard work. Very nice, but not for your exams. For exams, what you need is smart work. Do I know everything that is there in in one of my MCQ books like Pulse. Have I followed Sir's lectures completely? Have I written down his notes? Have I understood what has been going on? Have I done the institute papers? Have I done the live exam section? Majorly the live exam section. You can extrapolate yourself to subject and topic specific MCQs also. That's for this batch. For the next batch, it's a completely different package that we have made. It's one course. Anatomy is one course. You have everything inside that. Anyway, so for you all, you can go a little bit into subject and topic specific MCQs if you need to, but I think majorly you will have to stick to your live exam section. Go through each and every question, especially clinical scenario questions. You must have seen even in your mock exams. They were of a different level. So you read those questions, understand those explanations, and they will really, really help you. Follow the discussions which will be taken in the class from now on. They will be very, very important from an exam point of view, and they will be uploaded in your live exam section. So course A students also, don't worry, everybody of you will get access to all these discussion sessions, which of course will be conducted in the Davangere Center, and it will be put up in the BDS next tab, so nobody will miss it out. Okay, right? Okay. Then the next thing is, sir, my scoring in the exams in the live exam series is between 2,000 to 3,500, or sometimes my score has been like above 4,000. Now is the time for you to work, right? If you have heard the lectures, we had, I give his example many times because he told it so nicely. This Dr. Omkar was here. He was an intern last year, so he came to Davangere to meet us. I think all the students are also very fortunate to see him. So this boy, even though he was there in CDs in our Belgaum center, he started studying intensively after October, you know, and he landed up with 11th rank in NEET. So the last 4 to 5 months were very instrumental. So still, if there are students who are still struggling, and like if you're thinking that can I do it and things like that, you can, if you really given that time, if you given that 8 to 10 hours of studies properly. I don't think it's a major issue. I don't think it's a major issue. Okay, right? The next thing is, you know the big mistake that we can do at this point of time is we plan something but we fail to execute it. We just, we do not execute it. आप सोचते कि okay, सुबह morning I'll get up and like, okay, by evening I'll finish so many chapters, I'll finish so many chapters. Somehow during the day we get distracted. Somehow during the day we go slow. You start daydreaming, or and the worst thing to do in the last 3.5 months is to stay at home, right? And if you have a lot of if you're staying in a joint family and all, they're gone only. So please make sure that you have a place where you can study, um, preferably a reading room, or if you have a public library close by, or if you have a room which is meant for yourself, strictly tell your parents, family members, I'm studying, I don't want to talk to anything, I don't want to talk to you all about anything. Okay, I'm not asking you not to involve in family matters, you can, but you will not have the energy. That's what happens basically, like, if they're having a function, and like you spend 4 to 5 days, and then later you start feeling so guilty. You don't do well in one or two tests, you start feeling a little more bad. So as much as possible, try to stay away from such distractions, and try to focus on your task at hand, and I think they will really, really take you forward. Okay, so please don't worry, my dear students. I'm hoping that I've given you a small gist. And oral pathology, as I said, among all the clinical subjects, it being a very, very, very important subject, oral path, please make sure that you've done all your MCQs well, you do the synopsis well, syndromes, look into your BDS next step for all the picture based questions, diagrams that you have, and I think that they will really help you. You cannot afford to be weak in oral pathology. You cannot be weak in anatomy. Okay. Now, when it comes to pharmacology, how do we break this pharmacology? How do we break this pharmacology? I mean, point number one, if you have heard to all these, see, every system in pharmacology has been done in the class. whether it is general pharmacology, whether it is chemotherapy, even it is whether it is systemic chemotherapy, even classifications of cephalosporin, your anti-cancer drugs, central nervous system, autonomous nervous system, blood, GI, respiratory, uh, everything, diuretics, every system has been done in the class, right? So when it comes to pharmacology, uh, understanding the classification, what the notes that is given in the class, point number one. Point number two, if you really need to break the MCQs, there's this wonderful book by Gobind Rai Garg and Sparsh Gupta, Gobind Rai Garg. So if you can just go through the relevant, important chapter MCQs, I think they will really help you, right? And then, of course, you can always wrap it up with dental pulse if you need to. Uh, but this is the way how you can try to break the jinx of pharmac. If you look at all the pharma questions, they have not been very difficult. But even the last NEET, they did ask around 13, 14 questions on pharmac. Not difficult, but you should have studied it. So if you have not studied, out of 14, you can't attempt more than 3. Okay, but if you have studied, you can attempt easily around 10 to 11 out of 14, and I think it makes a huge difference. Okay, and when it comes to prosto, cons, and endo, you must have seen that in AIMS, especially endo, very hi-fi things are asked. Even prosto, very hi-fi things are asked. But in NEET, if you look at all the previous year's papers, they have never gone beyond the standard textbooks. Okay, if you look at your series mocks, there have been sometimes in endo and prosto we ask questions which are very new. You have not even seen that instrument or that particular file. Okay, so but they are important from the aims point of view. Okay, but when you look at the NEET point of view, it's hardcore, basic subject, basic. Okay, they will still ask you about EDTA, and they will ask you about sodium hypochlorite. I mean, the basic stuff, know it well. And where do you find the basic stuff? Your lectures, your notes, your MCQ like dental pulse, and what you have in front of you is more than sufficient. Again, my dear students, less is more. I'm telling you this very confidently. Sorry. Having trained more than 20,000 students, I think by the end of this year, I'll go to 24,000 students till date. You have more than enough information in front of you. You have your pulse there. You have your lecture notes. Lecture notes puts things together. It's a cementifying medium. Pulse is objective data. When you understand, for example, physiology, there's a huge 1 hour lecture on cardiac cycle. Just understanding cardiac cycle, because cardiac cycle is used everywhere. If you don't understand cardiac cycle, you will not understand what is MS, what is MR, what is in your general medicine. You don't understand cardiac cycle, you don't understand congenital heart diseases, you don't understand what is VSD, what is ASD, why does the right ventricle enlarge, what is the left ventricle. You don't understand any of that if you don't understand the basic cardiac cycle. That's why cardiac cycle is explained for more than 1 hour in detail. Like what is protodiastole, what is this. So once that concept is clear, mugging up questions become very, 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 very easy, and that is where a lecture comes in. So you understand the concept, and then mugging up of MCQs are very, very fast. They're very, very fast. Okay, so pharmac is what, and pharmac is best, my dear students, if you can do one system per day, or even sometimes break the system into 3 small parts and do. But try doing pharmac every day. You be good to that fellow. Be good to that fellow. Like you have a small book, and just go through it, and like okay, just go through the classification, go through the notes. If there's some relevant MCQs, just write it down, write down the important data, keep it there. Good. The other day, even after my NSET, some students who had exams in Davangere, evening I was going for a cup of coffee, and I met a few students who had written the exam. So we were discussing, and I asked him, do you have small notes what you have written? Sir, I have not yet made notes, sir. I'm thinking pulse only is notes. Okay, I agree. But having a small notebook will really, really make your job easy. It's still not late. Even till the 1st of Jan, if you feel anything which is very difficult, classifications, numericals, values, names, um, new instruments, instrument formulas sometimes. These are all very, very volatile. IOP, some of us still get confused between IOP as sizes. What is 0, what is 1, what is 2. Write it down. And whenever you're free, whenever you're eating food, whenever you get time, just brush through it. The students who've attended CD's lectures will understand that your brain just needs, the visual perception time is 0.013 seconds. So you just have to see it and you will remember it for a very, 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 very long time. So you have to be smart. You have to become smart. That is the way you're going to break the jinx of topping the exam. It's not just about hard work. It is not about hard work. And the worst thing that you can do at this point of time is to tell, I will study 10 years repeats and I'll study only repeats and then go. You will not even get in the top 10,000 ranking. Okay. So, my dear students, please be very, very smart in your approach. Never compare. Okay. If you ask some of your friend, he'll tell, oh, I did this, I did that, I did this in 2 days. Okay, bhai, up kar lo. I don't care. For me, I'm going to take time and I'm going to study it well. As much as possible, listen to yourself, right? Put an AirPod when you're studying and just try to put an AirPod, not listening to music. Huh? Put an AirPod so that you have noise cancellation, and you are you and the book. No, that's amazing, right? So you sit down, read. Anytime you feel that you're distracted, just get up, take a small walk, come back, sit in the place again, study, study. That is how, my dear and dear students, that you're going to really top this exam. It's not rocket science. It's not very difficult. You just have to be regular, be a good student, disciplined student, maintain a lot of humility. Okay, I always use the word humility. A good student can never be arrogant. A good student can never be, no. And even if I don't think you will top, right? Be humble. Stick to what your studies. No show off. Just, okay, I'll know this, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll read, I'll study. At the end of the day, you will all become successful. Okay, but keep going. Even whatever be your ranking, even ranking is like, I don't know, 5,000, 6,000 in the test series, I don't care, because you still have this good 3.5 months. My God, it's a long time. Make the best use of it and top the country. Let's get that government seat. Let's get that government seat and let's crack your NEET MDS 2024. Okay, just a small summary. The rest, I think when I take the discussion classes, CD students, I'll give it in the lectures as we're coming by. Okay, thank you so much. Take care. God bless.